The news hit hard, sending shockwaves through kitchens and living rooms across the country. General Mills, the company behind so many of our favorite foods, announced sweeping changes and job cuts. The headlines were impossible to ignore, and the impact was immediate. Thousands of employees faced uncertainty, and communities that relied on these jobs braced for change. For many, this wasn't just business news, it was personal. Families gathered around dinner tables, wondering what the future would hold for the brands they grew up with. These are the brands that fill our pantries and shape our routines. From breakfast cereals to baking mixes, General Mills products are woven into the fabric of daily life. The announcement raised immediate questions, not just among industry experts but in households everywhere. Would our favorite products disappear? Would the shelves soon be empty where our go-to snacks and cereals once sat? Was this the beginning of the end for a food giant? The uncertainty loomed large, casting a shadow over a company that had seemed unshakable for generations. Behind the corporate jargon was a simple truth: even the most trusted companies aren't immune to trouble. The reality of layoffs and restructuring hit home for many. The uncertainty rippled through households and grocery stores alike, making people rethink the stability of their daily staples. Shoppers wondered if their next trip to the store would be different. Suddenly, the familiar comfort of a box of Cheerios or a can of Progresso soup felt at risk. The products we took for granted now seemed fragile, their future uncertain. The story of General Mills' struggles is a wake-up call about how closely our lives are tied to the fortunes of the companies that feed us. It's a reminder that the brands we trust can face challenges too. As shelves emptied and anxiety grew, it became clear this was about more than just cereal. It was about our sense of normalcy, and the comfort we find in the everyday rituals of eating together. In May 2025, General Mills launched a transformation initiative, a multi-year $130 million plan to overhaul its business. This ambitious project aimed to streamline operations, cut costs, and refocus the company's efforts on its most successful products. The most immediate impact? Layoffs. $70 million was set aside for severance, signaling job cuts across the company. This move was a clear indication that the company was willing to make tough decisions to ensure its long-term viability. Details were scarce, leaving employees and communities on edge. The lack of transparency created an atmosphere of uncertainty and fear, as many wondered if their jobs were next on the chopping block. This wasn't the first sign of trouble. Earlier, General Mills had already shut down its G-Works innovation studio and paused its venture capital arm, cutting dozens of jobs. These closures were part of a broader strategy to eliminate non-essential operations. The message was clear: the company was pulling back from risky new ventures to focus on its core brands. By concentrating on what they do best, General Mills hoped to stabilize its financial situation and regain market confidence. CEO Jeff Harmening admitted the company's performance had slipped. Sales and profits were down, and growth had stalled. He emphasized the need for a strategic pivot to address these challenges head-on. The transformation was pitched as a way to cut costs and refocus on what works, especially billion-dollar brands like Cheerios and Old El Paso. These iconic products were seen as the key to driving future growth and profitability. While General Mills insisted it was aiming for growth, the moves felt like a retreat. The company's actions raised questions about its commitment to innovation and its ability to adapt to a rapidly changing market. The big question: was the company sacrificing future innovation for short-term stability? Critics argued that without a focus on new ideas, General Mills risked falling behind its competitors. For many, the uncertainty was unsettling, and the future of their favorite foods felt suddenly less secure. Consumers and employees alike were left wondering what the future holds for this iconic company. News of the cutbacks spread fast, sparking a wave of panic buying across the country. Shoppers rushed to stock up on cereals, baking mixes, and snacks, fearing shortages or price hikes. The sight of empty shelves in the cereal and baking aisles fueled even more anxiety. People weren't just hoarding food, they were clinging to the comfort and routine these brands represent. Supermarkets scrambled to keep up, sometimes limiting purchases to prevent total sellouts. The most popular items, Lucky Charms, Pillsbury biscuits, Totino's pizza rolls, vanished first. This wasn't just about food, it was about holding on to normalcy in uncertain times. The panic buying revealed just how deeply General Mills is woven into American life. A corporate decision in a distant boardroom had become a very real crisis in every neighborhood grocery store. The message was clear: when a food giant stumbles, everyone feels it. General Mills is more than just cereal, though it's hard to imagine breakfast without Cheerios or Lucky Charms. Its brands fill every aisle. Betty Crocker in baking, Pillsbury in refrigerated dough, Old El Paso for taco night, Progresso in soups, and Nature Valley in snacks. Even pet food, Blue Buffalo, carries the General Mills name. These aren't just products, they're part of our routines, our celebrations, and our comfort food cravings. That's why the news hit so hard. It wasn't just about one product disappearing, it was about the backbone of our weekly shopping lists. The thought of losing these staples created real unease. General Mills' troubles threatened to disrupt the rhythm of American life from breakfast to dinner. The shakeup at General Mills didn't just happen overnight, it was the culmination of months of mounting pressure from falling sales, shrinking profits, and a steady loss of market share to competitors. The warning signs had been building for some time, and the company found itself at a crossroads, forced to make tough decisions to survive in a rapidly changing market. For years, General Mills had enjoyed steady growth, riding high on the strength of its household brands. But in 2024, that momentum came to a sudden halt. Sales numbers that once climbed reliably began to slip, and the company's financial outlook darkened. Shoppers, feeling the pinch of inflation and rising grocery bills, started to rethink their loyalty to big-name brands. More and more they reached for cheaper store brands, putting pressure on companies like General Mills to justify their higher prices. In response, General Mills made the difficult choice to pull back from experimental projects and focus its resources on its most trusted, best-selling brands, like Cheerios and Pillsbury, hoping these familiar names would help steady the ship. The company shuttered its innovation labs and paused investments in new startups, putting a hold on riskier ventures. It was a clear signal. General Mills was betting on the power of tradition and brand recognition to carry it through uncertain times. This is a classic defensive move, cutting costs, streamlining operations, and doubling down on what's proven to work. The hope is that by tightening its belt and focusing on core strengths, the company can weather the economic storm and emerge stronger. But there's a real risk here. By sacrificing innovation and new ideas, General Mills could fall behind more agile competitors who are eager to capture the next big trend in food and consumer preferences. The food industry is evolving at breakneck speed, with technology, health trends, and consumer habits all shifting rapidly. For General Mills, the challenge is to find the right balance between stability and the need to adapt to a new era. For now, it's a high-stakes gamble, one that could determine not just the company's future, but also what ends up in your shopping cart for years to come. So what's next? General Mills is consolidating, streamlining, and betting big on its most popular brands. Expect to see more marketing and new twists on old favorites. Think new flavors, updated packaging, and health-focused options. For shoppers, the key message is, your favorite products aren't vanishing overnight. The panic buying was driven by fear, not reality. General Mills is doubling down on core brands like Cheerios and Pillsbury, so those shelves should stay stocked once the dust settles. Still, this is a reminder to be a mindful shopper. Know who makes your food and don't be afraid to try alternatives. The real challenge for General Mills will be finding a balance supporting legacy brands while still innovating for the future. If it can't, it risks losing ground to more nimble competitors. The company's next moves will determine whether it can regain trust and keep its place at the center of American kitchens. For now, the food landscape is shifting and everyone is watching. General Mills restructuring is about more than just business. It's about the food on your table and the brands in your memories. The headlines were alarming, but the reality is less dire. The company is reorganizing, not disappearing. Its most beloved brands are here to stay, at least for now. The best thing shoppers can do: stay calm, shop as usual, and maybe try something new. This is a chance to be a more conscious consumer, explore alternatives, build flexibility into your routine, and discover new favorites. The food industry will keep evolving, and so will the brands we love. General Mills is making tough choices today to survive tomorrow. For families across the country, the hope is that these changes will keep their favorite foods on the table for generations to come. In the end, it's a reminder: even the most familiar brands must adapt to survive, and so must we.